And we're rolling. Episode number 3, number 3, episode number 3. We got another very, very special guest. A very good friend of mine, actually. We know each other from childhood, from a very young age. And I'm actually very grateful and thankful he's here on the podcast because we have been in touch recently through a lot of things in life. And it's an absolute pleasure to have him here, Mr. Brice, a very good friend of mine. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you.
Before we get into further details with you, I'm just going to run through quick things to start the podcast off. So I would just like to say thank you very much to everyone who's liked, commented, subscribed so far, shared on Instagram, done all that good stuff on social media. I really appreciate you. So thank you guys for that. Keep it coming. We're only going to grow and get better from here. This is just the beginning. We're on the same sponsorship, guys. The best beer in Bali, Kura. Go and check out their cans. Everything will be in the description. You know where to go and find them. 10% off. Use the code KAIZAI for any orders on the cans there. If you want a brewery tour with free flow beer for the whole brewery tour, not 10% off, not 15%, but 20% off with the code KAIZAI. So be sure to check all that good stuff down below. Amazing beer, Kura. Shout out to them. Thank you for the sponsorship. Really appreciate it. What else are we moving on to here before we get into you? I think that's it. Oh yeah, we're on Spotify, by the way. So if you're reading, if you're fucking having a jog, if you're doing sports and you want to listen to the best podcast in Indonesia, follow us on Spotify. So Brice, how are you, my friend?
Man, I'm doing good.
Yeah. Welcome back to Bali. Welcome to your home island.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been an entire year. And yeah, of course, with all the COVID thing, didn't really see much of a reason. Yeah, it's a nightmare. Yeah. Didn't really see much of a reason to come over here. So yeah, the last time I've been here was like a year ago. Mm-hmm. And yeah, no,
you've
back
already
in the
seen
island.
the change from being here
It's
only
insane.
last year.
Every year I come back, it's like something's changed. I don't recognize the streets anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it's less drastic this year, obviously,
than what it was.
Yeah, but yeah, it's good. It's good to be back. It's good to spend some time on the beach, go surfing a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's nice.
How are the waves so far? Good.
Well, I'm not per se a really great surfer.
But it's just good to get back in the water.
It's good to get back in the water, exactly.
100%. You got some time off. He's a busy man, so he came over back to his home island, and we managed to fit this in actually quite perfectly, I would say.
Nice.
Just before New Year's. Well, this is going to come out after New Year's, so happy 2021, everyone. So yeah, quick introduction of who you are really and what you're doing and at the moment, because you are actually young. You're my age or a bit older. How old are you now? 21?
21, yeah.
21. I'm 20, so you're a year older than me. We did go to school together.
We did.
You are someone I look up to greatly. I must say that.
Thank you very much.
He is on it in life. He is an amazing individual. So just a quick little recap of who you are and what you've accomplished for the age you're
What I've
living.
accomplished? Okay, wow. I don't think I've
just
accomplished much.
Just a quick little briefing.
So, well,
oh, you can't say that. Come on. That's the humble man.
So I grew up, in the first 6 years of my life in Central Java, Indonesia, and basically, well, as you know, lived in Bali for the 10 years after that.
Yeah.
And then moved back to Europe, kind of like all around different countries, and then yeah, recently 2 years ago, I started this journey of triathlon, probably 3 years now, 2.5 years ago, and yeah, that was kind of inspiring in the sense that doing things at a high level, high discipline and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I started working at my parents' company. So my mother took over it 5 years ago, and I've been running operations for 2 years. Since November, I took over as managing director or CEO, if you will. I'm not really a fan of that term. And yeah, it's been good. It's been good, man. It's been a very steep learning curve these last 2 years, especially this year alone. I mean,
oh yeah, this year has been a hectic one, but a good
absolutely.
one, I must say.
Yeah, it's been great. On the company side, we've been growing quite a lot and all that. So yeah, that's pretty much a small little recap. I'm sure we'll get into. You're
killing it, bro. I must say, we'll get into more details with all that. So if you don't mind, a quick little briefing about your AKA triathlon junkie, because that's someone who you are online. If I must say, you have your social persona built up. You did compete in an Ironman in Nice.
Yeah.
So if you want to go into that, just how you started, basically, where can we start, man? It's a big story. Do you want to start with? We
can spill all the beans.
Do you want to spill all the beans?
Yeah.
We can start with how before. Let's trace it back a little. So
sure.
You were traveling Europe, and shit went down.
Right.
You were homeless. You were living on the streets. Mm-hmm. Do you want to go into that, and we'll move step by step into how you got into triathletes, because I'm sure it was based upon that.
Yeah, precisely. So you know what? Let's just start from Bali. I left Bali with a little bit of a situation.
How old were you then?
I was just a month before I turned 15.
Okay.
I lived in Europe for a year and a half after that. And somewhere around the ages of 16, right? Went to school, public school in Holland. It wasn't great. and I kind of just lost all the motivation.
As most public schools are in Europe, by the way. Like,
It's
not a very pleasant environment to even get
Not really.
motivated or do anything, as the whole schooling system is now, to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, there's different views upon that. Of course, there are good schools. But anyways, so after that, I kind of just went to Portugal. I started traveling around Portugal. Kind of like, I didn't want to say run away from home because my parents were quite aware of what I was doing. And, my mom, of course.
You're just socially independent, basically, at a young age.
Yeah,
would you say?
yeah. And I asked my mom for 500 euros, and I promised her to never ask for money again. That was a big lie.
Just 500.
Just 500. And so I started kind of like traveling around Portugal, right, from the north around Braga and Arcos de Valdevez. And I traveled all the way down south with no money, right? I think I had like 100 euros, and bought like a backpack and everything.
Yeah. Gypsy life.
Gypsy life, yeah, exactly. And kind of like hitchhiked down, working in like these remote, like what do you call them, like self-sustainable farms, hotels through Workaway, and kind of like just living that life. And a lot of drugs were obviously present. I mean, at the time I was 16, I had no money.
Yeah, the streets of Portugal as well, man.
The
Fucking
streets
hell.
of Portugal.
I've been there myself. It is.
Exactly. You'd know, right? So
Yeah.
and then anyways, I arrived in Lagos somewhere, which is all the way in the south of Portugal in the Algarves, and that's when shit kind of went down in terms of like the atmosphere, the hippies there. It was kind of like a weird culture that I was like set in, and the people there were just insane. And I was kind of like really enamored in that kind of culture, that vibe, because it was like,
You're young, man. When you're young, you look up to these people. Like, even though they're completely the opposite of what you should look up to, just because they're older than you and they're doing these substances and blah, 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 it's kind of automatic.
Yeah.
In a way that you just want to impress them or just fit in a way.
Yeah, exactly. And it's somewhere along the lines of that, but I think it's also part of it. Like, I didn't really feel like I fit in anywhere. And so I think like when you look at rave culture, which was, we were doing a lot of raves at the time, and like hippie culture, and at least for me, right, I didn't really ever fit in. So once I saw this kind of group that kind of like accepted me as like a friend and stuff like that, I don't know, I felt like I was a part of something finally, right? And obviously it was...
Which you look for at a young age, especially overseas when you're away, 100%. That's what you want. You want friends. You want to be part of something.
Exactly.
So it's very easy to understand that.
Exactly. But unfortunately, like, I got completely lost with the drugs at the time I was taking...
Just off the rails.
Yeah, at the time I was taking quite a lot of psychedelics and all that stuff. And after 3 months of basically tripping on the beach on acid...
just losing yourself, living in the moment, not thinking about the future at all or anything.
Yeah. I mean, there's a nice vibe to it. I mean, there's a nice thing about like kind of like living...
Oh yeah, 100%. But it's very easy to get lost. Like, I can refer this to Gillier. Like, I do business in Gillier, and when I go over there quite often, like every 2-3 weeks, to check on the beach house and the barber shop and everything, like, you see these hippies or these nomad people that get there, and then you'll come back a month later and they'll be completely lost, in the same spot on the beach, just roaming around, taking mushrooms. So it's very easy to just click out of it, because on psychedelics, you do kind of detach yourself from this reality that we live in, which is like work and money and everything, because psychedelics shows you that you're one with the earth and all this, and you don't really need that. So it's very easy to get lost on it.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I always tell myself, like, I got arrested in Spain, which was kind of like a blessing in disguise in a way, because if that would have never happened...
Pivotal moment.
Yeah, a pivotal moment. And if that would have never happened, I would have gone to Morocco, crossed the Atlantic, and... who knows? I would have been 30 years old. I would have still been selling weed and doing Workaway and stuff like that. Living the life as they call it, which now I have a complete different perspective on.
Yeah.
And
I feel like you almost had to go through that phase in your life to become who you are.
Yeah. So we went to good schools. I went to good schools in Holland and stuff like that as well. And when I compare myself to other friends, who went to pretty good universities, I always look back at my life and said, and this was especially in my recovery from drugs, I look back and I always felt quite insecure about my choices, right? Because, I did have the opportunity to go to a very good university and all that. But yeah, there's something about my life that I look back and, the traveling and the drugs and whatnot and meeting all these interesting people, that's just priceless.
It is.
You can't get a degree for that.
For me, life is about making memories. At the end of the day, when you are dying, when you're whatever age you are and you're there and you're about to die, it's you and your memories. That's the last thing you're going to go with. So
and for me,
it's priceless,
a big
100%.
part, the memories were definitely a big part, but learning from that. I mean, in a period of 8 months, obviously you learn how to be street smart. I mean, I got screwed over many times.
100%. And in Portugal, there are filthy bastards on the street when it comes to that type of stuff.
Yeah, everywhere in the world. Everywhere in the world, yeah. But I was just screwed over by gypsies. It's not a life to live.
It's endless.
Exactly. But anyway, so I went to Sevilla, and then I was there with a few friends, a few of my hippies. Unfortunately, I completely lost it. I couldn't even think straight. And then I went to Malaga. And in Malaga, I kind of lived there for the summer for a few months, and then I decided to go back to school.
Okay, so what age were you at this point?
At this point, I was 17.
Okay,
I had
so
just turned 17.
a year and a half in from when you first started traveling.
You know, I only traveled for like 8 months or so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so almost a year.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, so I lived in Malaga for a year. I went to a British private school there, and I think that's when the drugs started to really start.
Okay.
I always took like drugs on a daily basis, but like I think this point it was different. It was kind of like the daily use.
Was this more grade A drugs?
I was always using like Schedule 1 substances,
Okay.
grade A as you might call it, and stuff like that. But I think I got really specified in cocaine at the time I was using, and benzodiazepines, bromazepam, lorazepam.
Just all the bad shit.
Yeah, all that jazz, and it was just a daily thing. I would be
Uh-huh.
using at school. I'll be drinking a glass of wine with a benzo in the evening, and the weekends were filled with MDMA.
Uh-huh.
And those were like my main drugs of choices. I stopped with the psychedelics and stuff like that because I didn't really enjoy that.
You went through phases, so you just like 100%.
Yeah, I did. Unfortunately, like after 8 months, or fortunately, depends how you see it, I had to get admitted to rehab.
Mm-hmm.
And at that
This was in Spain.
This was in Spain, yeah. At that point, I completely lost myself, and I was admitted to an 8-week program at a rehab in Malaga. I came out worse than I came in. Had to go into a psychiatric hospital.
Yeah, didn't help you.
It didn't help me at all.
I've heard this before. Like, we can get into something very important you told me. I remember about addiction. That quote you said. I think I have it here somewhere. Where it is. Let me try to pull it up. Sorry, continue while I just find this because I found it very, very, very intriguing to me.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that. And so, yeah, I went to psychiatric hospital, and I mean, we're talking basically just four walls, bars on your windows.
Yeah, that's just the complete opposite of what you want from a rehab. Like, when I think of it, I've obviously never been, and it's but for when I think of it, how it should be is like open fields. You're somewhere in nature where it's like open in the environment with the sun on you all the time, and that's what I feel like the body would need when going through this change and this recovery, instead of being in this locked up kind of asylum type of building, because that's just the complete opposite. It's kind of fucked.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but my first rehab and my third rehab.
I'm sure there is rehabs like that. I'm not saying every rehab is like that.
I went to rehabs like that. So the first rehab was like that. It was basically like mocktails, not mocktails, but like drinks, juices at the swimming pool, beautiful sun in Spain. Top level service, all that stuff.
But this is the one you came out of worse.
Yeah, that's the one that came out worst, and because just of the people that were there and whatnot, and then I had to get admitted to a psychiatric hospital. Furthermore, then I spent 3 months in Amsterdam. The psychiatric hospital was terrible. I mean, they would give you cigarettes one by one every night. They would,
What the fuck?
Yeah, they'd bum me up with
Yeah,
terrible
just
antipsychotics. Yeah. And
just get you all doped up and fucking so you don't even know where you are.
Yeah, I couldn't even, it was just terrible. And I'm not a big believer in that kind of treatment.
100%. That's the worst thing for you. It's only going to fuck you up even more. It's just digging that hole even deeper, in my opinion,
Exactly.
It's numbing the pain now, but long term, it's just digging and digging.
Exactly.
And you're not going to be able to look up and see the sky anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, and just that the whole vibe in there, the people were terrible and stuff like that. I mean, the only benefit I had is I learned quite a bit of Spanish.
You see, taking the good out of the bad.
Exactly.
True entrepreneur.
and so later on, I spent a few months in Amsterdam, which was kind of like rock bottom, if you call it, in terms of the drugs that I was taking were a little bit extreme, and I found myself in kind of situations with people that I never thought I would.
Thought you would be near.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, at that point, it wasn't even rave culture anymore.
Would you say this as another pivotal moment where you kind of realized and you looked around yourself and you're like, fucking hell, I've got to this point that's so low, and you kind of was a realization smack where you're like, I never thought, like you said, I would be around these specific type of people, whatever you want to call them.
Not at all, actually.
Not at all. You didn't care.
At that point,
you were so deep in, you were like, fuck it, I just want my fix.
At that point, I was quite suicidal. And the way I saw, like, I was experimenting with large doses of certain drugs, which you shouldn't experiment in large doses with, especially the way I was taking those drugs. And that, and I would tell myself before I used it in the way I did, in the evenings, I'd tell myself, look, if this goes bad, fuck it, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And I would kind of like experiment with very high doses in it.
You got to that point, you're like, if this
I didn't really care.
It.
There was complete apathy for life and complete lack of motivation, lack of drive for anything. And I had something coming though. I had this rehab, which apparently was the rehab, and that's when I got into Yes We Can youth clinics, which basically after it was a 10-week program, and after 8 weeks, something clicked. Get goosebumps even talking about it.
Hey, of course, man. I'm getting goosebumps even listening to it, man. Fucking props to you. But yes, that's an amazing thing, bro. Like to go through that and even sit here now and talk about it is a superpower. So
Yeah.
moving into that thing you told me about that you said to me, which I actually kept because I think it's something very amazing, especially for a perception way of how you think of it. Because you could easily not even, you could put all this shit in a cupboard and lock it, and you're like, I came out of it, I don't want to look at it again. It's done.
Yeah.
But you don't, which is amazing in my opinion, because you grow from it and you learn from it, and it's probably going to be put out, which you already have. You've written your story online, which will be everything in the description. It's an amazing read. Check it out. It's absolutely great. It's just going to be put out to help people, in my opinion, man. That's what you want. No, is that your aim? Yeah. So,
absolutely.
like you said, if I'm mistake me if this is wrong, but I remember you told me addiction is a superpower. You just have to leverage it into what you love and make it become a positive obsession. Every successful person has an has an addictive personality trait that has an addictive personality trait. And they're just a lost addict associated with the wrong obsession.
Yeah. So
maybe I said that a bit, stumbled, but on those terms.
This is something that I'm quite passionate of. And yeah, just for reference, before going I'm 3.5 years sober. And
well done, by the way.
Thank you.
So there'll be none of these for Mr. Brice.
None of them, unfortunately. I'll have 0.0.
We're on the water today.
And water, of course.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Good job. To another lifetime of soberness to you. I'll join you soon. After New Year's.
After New Year's. And yeah, so the way I see addiction is quite controversial in the sense that I don't really go with conventional addiction treatment and the way how they see it. I mean, when you talk to a psychologist who works in addiction, they would often say that, you should be free from all your addictions, which is fine, right? And this kind of gets a little bit complicated because I believe that there are two different types of addicts, right? I think there are addicts who are born an addict, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like there are addicts that are molded within their environments.
They have the addictive trait with them.
And the latter is more in the sense that they've experienced certain situations in their life which kind of led them into being dependent on drugs. Like, some people have been raped at a young age, terrible family and stuff like that. And those type of people don't really have the addictive personality, right? But then you have the people who are just born addictive, right? That have an extreme obsessive, innately are obsessive people.
Yeah, with everything they do. They go 100% on what they do and they move on to the next task and they're 100% with that. Yeah, 100%.
Precisely. And the theory that I kind of want to build upon is that I feel like when you look at the top 1% of every industry in the world, right? Give it the best entrepreneurs, the CEOs, great musicians, athletes, and all the thing. The one thing that I seem to see that they all have in common is that they have, innate passion for what they do and they love it, right? You look at the story of Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and all these, great individuals. They love what they do to a level.
That's just the base of everything is they love what they're doing.
And Conor McGregor said once, I'm not really sure how
he
it
actually
goes.
has some banging quotes, that guy. If you actually look into what he does,
he?
He's a true fucking man, of his word as well. He's a lot of manifestation in what he did as well. Like when he was in Crumlin, I did some research on him and he's one of my role models for sure.
Yeah, I don't know too much about him. I just know this one quote, and he says something along the lines of this is not I forgot where it goes, but he says basically this is not something, this is an obsession, right? He goes and says, this is not talent, this is obsession.
This is obsession.
Right? And when you kind of because obsession has a bad rep, right? It's basically stigmatized.
It does.
Yeah, it's stigmatized
100%.
in a massive way because when you're obsessed with something, you're basically just, tunnel vision on it and you don't really have any output or outlet in any other direction, right? And so when I read that quote, I kind of looked into other athletes. There's a great athlete, I forgot her name, and she does track cycling in the Olympics, and she also came from an addictive background, and she put all her effort in there, right? And I think that when you look at these top 1%, they all have something uncannily similar to all these addicts, right? That they love, not the way they approach drugs and or sports or whatever industry they're in, but more so the emotion that goes into it, right?
It's their everything. It's
exactly.
It's their bread and butter. That's all they care about. That's all they want in life. They couldn't care less if it was anything else.
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah. So the way I see it is that addicts, purebred addicts is the analogy that I would use. Purebred addicts, they have a lot of potential in if they kind of learn from themselves, right? And learn their addiction and tame their addiction and then take advantage of their addiction.
Yeah.
I do a lot of Zoom meetings online, and I do a lot of calls with some people. Some others often contact me. They ask me to take,
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
have
really
a call
good.
with their child and stuff like that.
That's
Lately
sick,
I've been doing
bro.
lately I've been doing a lot of Zoom calls for safe houses
And this is mainly abroad, just or everywhere. There's not one main sector. Of
Yeah,
where this is
no,
coming
it's
up from.
abroad.
It's
So
everywhere.
I've done U.S., Canada, Holland. I have some ties there, and I always tell them, you know, I mean, like, you know, you see all these people with their small screens. They're all basically, you know,
Robots.
in the same house. They're not robots. It's just that they feel like they're left behind in life, because if they compare themselves with their friends, you know, they've lost themselves in addiction. And I always tell them, like, man, you know, you guys have something that people would dream of having, and that's a personality that can be used, you know,
into anything, to mold into anything.
In ways that, you know, people can only imagine. You know, there's a certain drive, the level of obsession that it's just, you can't have that. Like, people would dream about
you're born
that.
with it, like you said.
Exactly.
You either have it or you don't.
Exactly. And so, yeah, that's kind of like my view on addiction. It's very low. I'm not really sure where I'm going with it, but I definitely want to write a little bit.
You're on the right path,
it.
man. I'll give you that for sure. We'll get into it later. I don't want this all to be about your passengers, because your transformation that you've done, and I think that middle part of where we'll move on to, of how successful you are going, and you are at the moment, is you going into that triathlon.
Exactly. So after I kind of like left Yes We Can, I went to a safe house, which is basically like a house for addicts to live in after they do their treatment at a clinic. And it's basically, you can do whatever you want, but you're living with a bunch of addicts.
And was this in the Netherlands?
This was in the Netherlands, in The Hague.
Okay.
And I stayed there for 9 months. After 6 months of my sobriety, I really wanted to quit smoking.
Yeah.
And I think I tried like 4 times. The longest that I've been was a week or so. I really wanted to. Until a friend of mine told me, like, you know what, why don't we just run this half marathon? And I said, okay, that's a great idea. And I remember it was just a month out before I quit smoking.
Yeah, because you are an athletic guy. I remember when we were young, we would play football together all the time. We would be doing cross countries.
Yeah,
we were athletic kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I mean, you do have that in you.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I was brought up quite athletically. My parents always put me in, you know, extracurricular activities, sports related and stuff. So on that front, I was quite I wasn't like fat I was a bit skinny because of all the drugs and stuff. But yeah, that changed pretty quickly. I mean, once I did that half marathon, I remember everyone telling me that it was just such a stupid idea. I got so excited.
It always is that. It's always everyone saying you shouldn't do it, or it's a bad idea, when it actually is the best one for you.
Exactly. And I think having that, you know, with addicts, it's very difficult, because some people have, you know, part of them is their addiction talking, as in like, oh, I should be able to do this. And part of them is themselves talking like, okay, this is actually a good decision.
Kind of like the angel and the devil right here.
Exactly. And having that clarity between which one's right is, you know, crucial. But anyway, so I did that half marathon and I crossed the finish line and I was hooked. You know, there was nothing more that I wanted to do than that. And that's when I slowly started seeing this red
So that clicked in your head. You're like, you transferred your addiction from that into triathlons.
Yeah, exactly. And
you maneuvered that passion.
Exactly. And, you know, transferring addictions wasn't healthy, and it definitely wasn't healthy in the first few months that I was doing triathlon, because the way I was doing it was extremely obsessive. Yeah. I slowly moved into triathlon and I saw this red page, Ironman, and I was like, wow, this is insane. So it's a 3.8 kilometer swim followed by a 180 kilometer bike and then a 42 kilometer run afterwards.
Jesus Christ.
And so
I just came back for an hour of boxing and I'm done. I can't even imagine that, bro.
Yeah, it's the race is hard. The training is even harder. Yeah, it's even harder. In my opinion, yeah.
Just putting the graft in, preparing your body for these obscene levels of intensity.
Absolutely, exactly. Yeah. And so 8 months after I did my first half marathon, which is around 9 months after I quit smoking, I was on the start line of Ironman Malaysia, right? And
incredible.
Yeah, it was an insane journey in terms of like the training and the kind of like the level of seriousness that I put into it.
Was this in mainland KL or was it like off the island?
This was in Langkawi.
Okay, Langkawi, nice.
Langkawi, yeah.
Beautiful islands, by the way.
Beautiful island. I love Langkawi. I went back there last year for Ironman Malaysia again.
Sick.
And yeah, I came third place.
Wow.
And in my age group,
hats off to that, man.
You know, a few minutes short of qualifying for World Championships.
Wow.
And then I was like, wow, this is actually, you know,
I got
a little potential here. You know, given that I only quit smoking.
That's amazing,
9
bro,
months
honestly.
ago. Yeah, and just about a year ago, I quit taking
everything,
all the drugs that I was taking. And so I got really into triathlon and kind of like build kind of like a brand, which is what you were referring to earlier.
Triathlon junkie. Check everything out. It's amazing.
Yeah.
He's got his Instagram. You got where can they? You got a website, no, as well?
I got a website.
Everything will be below. It's amazing. Check it out, guys. Honestly, it's an amazing read. Hand on heart. Do it.
Thanks. And then I started creating this brand, Triathlon Junkie, and then I started getting sponsors and started getting more into it. Started winning more races, local races. And then, I came third place in Ironman Subic Bay the year after. And that's where I qualified for 70.3 World Championships. So that's half Ironman World Championships in Nice, which which you were talking about earlier. And then after that, this was about last year.
What place did you come in that one?
Not good.
No, hey, mate. Honestly, you can come first or you come last. To me, if you even just do it, it's equally as good. That's my personal opinion.
I think like racing local races or like Southeast Asian races and stuff like that is one thing.
Would you say it was a lot harder?
It's all dependent on the course. You know, sometimes you have different.
Was this one equally as hard, or was this one a lot harder?
This was a very difficult bike course.
So it was a step up.
In a way, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
But the level of competition. I mean,
of course, in Europe and that, 100%. I think
we were racing against.
Always higher in any
You're
sports.
racing against the top 1% of best.
So the best of the best. So
the best of the best, right? It's world
you were in the A game.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, competing against these people was just complete different level. So I didn't really do very well. Also, I had a lot of problems with my nutrition strategy. But yeah, and then so I kind of like kept going on for like 6 months, and that brings me to like earlier this year where COVID hit, and all the races were canceled, and yeah, and then I decided to take a little bit of a break from triathlon.
Focus more on business.
And I was already quite focused on business for 2 years. Well, for 1 year at that time. And yeah, at that point, I kind of like got more into business and realized that, okay, well, I'm not making that much money from triathlon.
Yeah.
I'm training 15 to 20 hours a week.
It's not worth it.
It's, it's getting to a point where I don't see
risk
the benefits.
and reward.
Exactly. And if I would spend that time into the company, the rewards were much greater. So
which you have been doing, which I
have been doing. Yeah.
We'll get into that, I think, later. And after we wrap this up, we'll shift over onto that, because I think another amazing thing you've done, like you just keep shifting and upgrading yourself. So I would see this as Brice's life. The graph's going up, baby. And it's only going to be going up. I know you like your graphs as well.
I love my graphs. And so, so all during this time, I was very obsessed with learning, right? I mean, I dropped out of high school for rehab, so I didn't really have any conventional education or standard, academic education as everyone would have. So it was really up to me. At this point, I was reading around 6 books a month and doing a lot of courses online on financial accounting.
Yeah, that's 6 books a month. That's solid. That's decent.
I would do like
I'm on like 2 or 3.
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of Kindle and improve my reading speed and stuff like that. And the courses have been a massive help in the sense of like managing the company and whatnot. Yeah. So
side hustling, baby.
Yeah, exactly. And
self-improvement and your business improvement, everything.
Exactly.
I actually want to thank you for actually getting me back into reading, honestly. It was because of you.
Thank you.
You actually recommended me 3 amazing books. I'm down 2, 1 more to go.
The Unfair Advantage.
Unfair Advantages, smashed that. Amazing.
Yeah,
thank you for the recommendation.
I heard from someone that they recommended, you recommended the book to them.
Yeah. I actually passed it on, so it's a little token of it's going around the Bali community.
I think it's,
hands down, thank you, man. If you guys want to check it out, I'll put it down in the description because it's worth the read. It's an amazing. And then now I've just finished How to Win Friends and Influence People. That one, honestly, it's a good book, but I'm not trying to be cocky or anything. It kind of told me already what I kind of knew, but it did it in a more simplistic form.
Right.
Like I would give Unfair Advantages a solid 8-9. I'm giving Win Friends and Influence People 6.
Yeah. No, I understand that. I mean, a lot of books.
But I still think it's important to read. It's just, I think it's really dragged out, like with unnecessary stories mainly, instead of just hitting the point more.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see that a lot with different books,
I'm here criticizing fucking top-selling books. Who am I? But like,
no, but that's the thing.
Don't listen to me.
That's the thing with books, though. I mean, it's very individual. Like, you see on Goodreads that, there's some people that rate books 1 star, like great books 1 star, and some
everyone's different. Everyone's different.
And the way I see it, like if you read 6 books a month or 5 books a month, and you have no value from like 4 of the books.
You're wrong.
But somewhere this is possible, right? So somewhere in the 5th book, in the second last chapter, there's 2 paragraphs that change your life completely. Yeah. And that's the way I see it, right? It's
a good way to look at it.
Yeah, precisely.
With anything, man, to do, honestly, not just books. Like if it's not working out for you, it could just be that last step. Don't give up.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I always make this joke that when I'm at the factory, right, everything that I teach my employees and everything that I teach my top management team comes from the books that I read the night before.
100%. Like that, like those books, like you even told me, like, hi, I can't wait for you to read them. Like you're actually going to get like, it'll change your life. And it has. And I'm on the E-Myth now. But I'm kind of reading that slower because I actually want to read that fresh. So when I start opening up my barbershop again and all the other businesses I'm running, I can actually apply that strategy. Because E-Myth is more fundamental into like getting into and running business like day to day. So I'm actually reading that slower. Yeah. But like all the analytics and all the note taking and everything, like you have to do that with these books. Although, well, you don't have to, but it is necessary.
There's
in my
definitely
opinion.
a lot of value to be taken out of from
especially reading chapters over again, like. Reading them and then going back and reading them again is worth it. So if you guys want any books and you're stuck, I actually want to start a little challenge here on the podcast. I don't know if anyone's going to join it, but Hashtag read a book in a month. So it's one book in a month. He reads 6. So you can read 1. So any book, if you want to start off with these 3, Win Friends and Influence People, Unfair Advantage, and The E-Myth. Hopefully it will help you change your life as well. So yeah, do that. Read a book in a month. That's a Kai's Eye challenge for you.
So you mentioned E-Myth. This is one of my favorite books.
Yeah.
I'm rereading it for the 3rd time now. And
wow, you see?
and it's funny because
just gets better, would you say?
I think you pick up on things that you didn't pick up, and kind of like a refresh in memory that, you know, when you apply things into your business and you're consuming a lot of content, you kind of like forget like which is like the fundamentals, as you said, right? And with E-Myth, it's something like, you know, when you're running a small business, I mean, the subtitle is Why All Small Businesses Fail. It's kind of like a good reminder to tell yourself like, okay, so this is the point of the book, and this is like and I believe in the E-Myth because it's kind of like all businesses should be run with the intention to be sold, and with systems
100%.
With systems to be created and delegated.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, we're not people. Well, I won't get too much into the book, but I don't think a lot of people that they run businesses, and the entire businesses is dependent on them, right? Business should be systems dependent, is in my opinion,
well, if you look at the top tier businesses, it's all system based, it's all system run.
Absolutely.
You have to get that, you have to hit that to even become into that sector of that high end tier of businesses, in my opinion.
Yeah,
because you only get so far with doing it with passion and stuff. It's an amazing way to start, and that's how maybe all businesses should be started off, is through passion and through what you like. But it should be changed and shifted into what you said with systems. Absolutely,
and with these books and stuff like that, I think the main like the premise or the idea of like reading these books is to apply everything you learn.
Yeah.
You know, I was in a discussion a few weeks ago with a friend, and you know, he was telling me all the problems that he was having in his business, and I told him, I said, you know, there's this. I told him like I hate recommending books because I don't like doing it, right? But I told him like you have to read The E-Myth, and he said, well, I've already read it. I said, well, all the problems that you just told me are in the E-Myth.
Are in the book.
So you
didn't read it properly, mate.
and he says, yeah, well, the problem I have is applying things. And I said, it's all about applying. Like, books are useless if you're not going to
if you're not applying it. You're just reading.
And this is why, the self-help industry is just a massive industry, because people just keep consuming and keep buying. You know, the self-help is an industry that's kind of like it's a cyclical industry, which like just people are like locked in it. Like they don't 100%. Take anything out, because if self-help was a thing that worked, right?
It wouldn't exist.
It wouldn't exist, right? So just kind of like looking at it from that perspective, and you know, consuming the books, and you know, taking notes like on Notion as you do.
We're actually going to say that again. Thank you for that. If you guys want any, like, this has changed my life again. This man's changing my life step by step, bro. Like, straight up, this application is. I want a sponsorship, so Notion, come on. Give us a couple of months, we'll be up there in the statistics. But yeah, it's an amazing application where you can just literally put everything you have in here onto your computer and just format it in amazing ways. Like, I don't know, what's that? We're going to go into this. Some role models you watch every day that influence you. I know, what's that guy with the glasses? There you go. He is a Notion god, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Well, he's a productivity god.
He's another standard of work ethic and like shit he does. Like, another person you got me onto again. So thank you for that. Yeah, so shout out to Notion. It's an amazing application. I don't know who did it, but yeah, hopefully we can get a sponsorship from them soon. That would be amazing.
And so like all this like Notion and stuff like that, they're basically just like, you know, the second brain is the way I like basically the way I use Notion, and kind of like implementing these systems in your life and in your business as well. Exactly. I call it my life operating system. And all this stuff, it's kind of just like, you know, it's a level of organization, and you know that just increases your productivity massively.
Exactly, man. It's just motivating for me. Like, when I see this, like right now, what I have is Notion open. If any of you are wondering what's behind the computer, it's Notion. Yeah. So yeah, it is. It's amazing. It's hands down life changing, in my opinion.
Yeah. And anyway, so back to like the whole like taking over not taking over the company, but like
get back into that.
Yeah. So after the triathlon thing. I started paying a lot of attention to the company, and this is, you know, around.
You want to say what your company is, or you rather not?
So
it's completely up to you.
Yeah, we'll add it into the description later.
All right, easy.
Maybe.
Hey, man, you tell me.
So yeah, just for a little background story on the company, it's 150 employee furniture B2B manufacturing.
Yeah.
And we export worldwide.
Yeah.
And we don't. Yeah.
If you want any great furniture coming out of Indonesia, the link will be in the description. If honestly anything, custom made tables to fucking anything to do with furniture, top quality wood, best wood. This guy has been helping me with a little side project I've been doing. I won't say what it is, but it's to do with wood, and he's been helping me a lot with that as well. So yeah, if you want to get any wood and stuff made, he's your guy. It'll be in the description. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So I mean, it was a pretty big company, and well, not big, but you know, pretty average sized. And yeah, it was quite exciting in the sense that I was like slowly taking over more responsibilities. I mean, I started like QCing furniture to the point I was managing supply chain, and then I was, you know, handling all the purchasing, and then I was handling all operations, which is what I was doing for the most period of like the most time.
Took the company by the balls.
Yeah, and then I started, I started handling all the clients, and then I started handling a little bit more of the finances, managerial accounting, and all that stuff. And then slowly I started kind of like leading the team, and and that's where I began.
I feel like you really need to do that though in Indonesia.
Yeah,
like you just have to. It's not the same as Europe or the West. In Indonesia, you really have to be that pivotal person people look up to in your business.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, it won't be getting to where you want it to go.
Absolutely. And look, I'm 21 years old, right? I mean, I look like I'm 16.
Hey, you don't.
And, no, but to a certain extent, it's very important that I have the respect for my employees.
Exactly, 100%.
From the subcontractors and the suppliers that I work with.
You have to have that.
So, people recognize me in the way I am, but I'm obviously very different when, I'm at the factory and stuff like that. I'm very serious in the way I do things and with time management and stuff like that.
You have to be like that though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't take any shit from anybody. And from that point, and also, the work ethic that I'm in the factory before anyone's there, and I'm leaving the last.
You're setting the role model. You're
Exactly.
setting that person what they want to be. And I remember you telling me, or even on your Instagram, you were saying like you've seen the progression in individual employees in their personal life as well.
Yeah.
Like just their work ethic, their workload, like them as a personal like growth. And I think that is because of you, 100%.
This is what I believe in. So I invest a lot in culture. I love culture. I mean, I invest a lot in the responsibilities. I increase it from people. I expect my employees to learn a lot, right?
Yeah.
Recently we gave all our top management a book on Toyota Way, which is the leading manufacturer in the world, in my opinion, for lean manufacturing, Kaizen, and all these lean principles and stuff like that. It's mainly business process or manufacturing process design, and kind of like educating them. We have 2 whiteboards. I'm always like, if it's the law of diminishing returns, economies of scale, all these
Everything's
concepts
up there.
Yeah, all these
Around
concepts
you,
I
you're in
share
an
directly.
environment,
And I'm increasing.
Perfect.
Exactly.
That's how it should be.
And the main thing, what I believe is dependent on like a successful business is culture.
Yeah, 100%. Shout out to Gary Vee because I think he actually thinks the same thing.
Yeah, so Gary Vee is big on culture as well.
Yeah, he is very big on culture.
Yeah.
He's another pivotal person that I've actually started looking at because of you as well. So
yes, yeah,
he's amazing.
Gary Vee helped me a lot in the beginning in terms of like vision. I don't listen to him that much anymore.
You kind of grow out of him, but he's always there for you to like go back to. He's more like people who are getting into it as that motivating factor.
Exactly.
I feel like.
Yeah. So yeah, I see the odd video on
You
Instagram. Now and then. It's nice. It's invigorating in a way, right?
100%.
But yeah, so now we're this year we've grown. Well, we've tripled profits by 3. Well, we tripled profits. And we're looking to expand the factory. We're buying new land next year.
Yeah, I've seen the videos of the construction you're doing.
Yeah, so we're moving.
Space you're working on. Amazing. Congratulations, bro.
Yeah, thanks.
Literally.
We're moving really fast.
Winning streak, baby.
Exactly, winning streak. We're moving really fast, and it's kind of like it's a different kind of stress. I was talking with one of our biggest clients, and he's moving pretty fast as well. And we're talking about like there's kind of like a stress that you have when you don't have enough clients or you don't have enough orders and you can't pay your people. And then there's a type of stress where you have too much and you just can't handle it, and you need to like
balance, man.
Put all the energy into like growing your company, which is great. And this is the company's been here for 25 years, and it's been quite static, at least in the last 15 years, definitely 10 years, right? So kind of like to come in there and kind of like completely change everything and look at it in my way and just do things by the book, right? Quite literally.
Fundamentally, which is
people say like, oh, this is good that you're doing. I'm like, mate, listen,
the stats are here, the numbers are here.
Yeah, I'm just doing things by the book. Like I'm reading things, and I'm doing courses on accounting. I'm learning how to like implement operational finance, all this stuff. Like I'm learning, cash flow is a big thing in business. This is what I've gotten recently in the last year. And this is something that has completely changed the way profitability has improved tremendously. And yeah, just like implementing basically everything in the book. That was my strategy, and it's exciting. It's funny because like I said, 25 years this business has been on this on this land, on this ground.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's very much the startup phase.
That's crazy.
And everyone's just moving around.
Has the employees been there for 25 years, or is it a new bunch? Well, obviously not everyone, but majority, would you say, has been the same employees that's been there?
In management, they're all new.
Okay.
Right. There's one guy in management that that helped quite a lot and like improving, and he's been there for like 6 years. And then there's one guy who's been there for 20 years. He's also in top level management. So yeah, there's some people.
Them. But
yeah,
that's what you want. You want that fresh atmosphere feeling of like this is a startup, because when you get into startups, that's the kind of the thing that drives you and motivates you. This is new. This is something we're going to do. This is something we're going to achieve. We're going to become the best.
Absolutely.
So it's actually amazing that you're feeling that in the company.
Yeah. So sharing our vision, sharing my vision with my employees and with my management team, and kind of like seeing like, okay, where do we want to go and how do we get there?
And how do we get there?
And kind of like, we're all putting the work together. And there's
as a team.
Yeah, and it's insane. When we talk about like, I'm writing an article soon about building a gritty culture. And, it gets to the point where like, it's 8 p.m. and, we're smoking cigarettes. That shouldn't be on. We were smoking cigarettes outside, and we're kind of like just talking about like, how fun it is, working, 14, 15 hours a day and kind of like,
that's amazing, bro.
Pushing it to the next level and, growing that much.
See, that's what you want. You want to have that work environment where it is serious, but once you get outside and once the hours are done, you want that friendly banter with your employees where you can, have a coffee with them and get that chat in, because that actually is ethically important.
Yeah. And so the thing that I wanted to touch on that is that like the banter that we had, that we have occasionally is like, it's kind of like we have a drive and passion for the grit that we have, right? That we push so many hours. Like, it's hard work.
Love the hustle.
Yeah, it's exactly. I'm not a fan of the word hustle.
Yeah,
but
okay.
You know what I mean? Like we love the pain. We love the long hours and stuff like that. And that's what I've seen. Like people are, we're working weekends and stuff like that, and they love it.
That's amazing.
It's
bro.
not like, oh, I don't feel like going to work. It's like every day we're just like. And I think that's something that's just, it's priceless.
Yeah, it is priceless, man.
Absolutely.
100%. And well done for cracking into it, because not a lot of people can crack into it.
Yeah.
Or are even aware of it. So at a young age, man, hats off to you again.
Yeah, I think a big part is, Indonesian was my first language. And
that's something that
leading the team
has helped
in
us
Indonesian.
a lot. Yeah. Is a major unfair advantage.
Absolutely. Exactly. Yeah, precisely.
Miles framework,
exactly.
Read the book. So we're looking good on time. Let me do some quick little questions for you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Yeah. So far, what has been the most satisfying moment in your life?
The most satisfying moment.
Because you've been through a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's one moment that just comes to the top of your head that's been the most satisfying?
I think, crossing Ironman Malaysia for the first time.
100%. That must be an amazing feeling.
Yeah, wow. I think there's just something. I mean, I don't want to talk too much. I get emotional. But my mom has been through a lot, and because I mean, it's very difficult to see your son in the place that I was. 56 kilos and completely screwed up basically mentally, and there's just a lovely picture of me hugging her at Ironman Malaysia, and
you got that framed up somewhere in your office or something.
Yeah, I have it in my room.
Good, man.
It's a moment to remember, and it's I think that's definitely.
That's a very good answer. Very good one. Okay, who are your role models?
My role models. Well, I'm very big. I like Tim Ferriss.
Mm-hmm. He's an amazing person. Another guy you recommended to me to just watch and follow.
And he's got great books as well.
He's a superhuman being.
Yeah,
he is a superhuman being.
Yeah, one of my favorite books, The 4 Hour Work Week.
I've actually ordered that one.
Great.
That's the next one I'm going to be hitting up.
That's a great book, yeah.
I'm going to be getting into that.
So it's him, it's Ali Abdaal.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
And I think that would be it.
Yeah.
I think I really
Good, you don't want too many.
Yeah, I mean, there's one, Marcus Aurelius, which is...
I don't know who that is.
He's one of the last 5 good emperors of Rome. Well, he's the last of the 5 good emperors of Rome. And he's a philosopher king, and he's very big into Stoicism. And I actually got into him via Tim Ferriss, and I recently read his book, which kind of like just changed my life. And yeah, it's
Friedrich Nietzsche as well. Nietzsche.
Yeah, Nietzsche.
He's not bad.
I'm big on existentialism and that time in the 60s where Nietzsche was very popular in his movement of nihilism and whatnot. So yeah, definitely interesting.
Good answer.
I don't know too much about it though.
Okay. If you could change one thing on the planet right now, in the current day we live in, what would it be and why?
Wow, that's a good question. What would I change? Well, I think I'm quite idealistic in the way that I think addiction can be changed in a very big way. And obviously this is something that's very specific to like the way I think, and I can say obviously education and stuff like that. I'm just not knowledgeable enough on that level.
That's what I mean. This will come with experience. Like we've had this chat before. What I think and I see with you, besides you conquering in the business world, which you're already doing, with this Triathlon Junkie brand you have built, I think you could really get a good program going to actually make changes in life, which you already are doing. You said it with Zoom calls. So I think with the future mission for that brand you have with Triathlon Junkie, implementing that change in life through Addicts and stuff like that, I think you can actually have a very, very good, impactful change.
Yeah, I hope so. And you know, this question actually makes me think back into about like yeah, I think it was like last year, which I did a talk, like a live talk at the rehab that I was in. And that's, yeah, on the top of the list of like one of the most amazing moments that I've, you know, kind of like experienced, and just like being able to see their kids, you know, under the age of 21, you know, suffering through addiction.
Yeah.
And kind of like talking to them and coming up to me and saying like, dude, that was amazing. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
that must be
that's insane.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's
priceless.
Yeah, there's no like that level of satisfaction, you know, is just, it's a beautiful thing to give. And when we talk about like NA, Narcotics Anonymous, and Alcoholics Anonymous, we talk about the 12 steps, and that is basically helping the other addict.
Mm-hmm.
That's
just
a
final step.
Yeah, I think that's just, you know.
So something in the addiction system would what you would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you will change it. I know you will.
I hope so.
If you had $100 million to spend in 3 sectors, business, health, and tech, what would you do?
So tech, probably invest in
Bitcoin.
Yeah, actually. Well, maybe not. I would invest in like disruptive technology ETF.
Okay.
Very boring. ARK Invest. And for business, probably
just pump it into your company.
Pump it into my company, probably. Yeah, definitely.
And then health. That can be your own health. That can be for others' health. So you could say charity. You could say, I don't know, build hospitals around the world, whatever. You got the $100 million budget.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'll go for the charity.
Yep. Sweet. So what are you budgeting it in? How much in each sector?
Oh, I have 100 million, not in each.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Not 300, mate. Calm down. We're not 100.
100 million between the three. I want to talk like a straight up conservative capitalist and put 100 million in my own company.
All right. Sweet. So you're like, fuck the others. No. I like the answer, man. I would do the same thing.
Well, maybe I'll put 5 million in charity, you know.
I would actually do the same thing. What was the most challenging part of the Ironman? Training?
Training is definitely, I mean, you're putting 15 to 20 hours a week. I mean, you know, this is where my discipline came from initially.
Yeah,
right?
that's where you're implementing it into business, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, amazing.
And, you know, like you wake up at 4:30 a.m., you go for like a 2-hour bike or, you know, an hour and a half swim. You're pumping 4K in the morning when it's pitch black. Yeah. And then you're going to work for like 9-10 hours, and then you come home and you're training for another 2 hours.
What is your schedule looking at now?
Well, what time are you? It's quite similar, essentially. I wake up still at 4:25. Still to this day. Still to this day, every day.
I have that written and like my quantum goal list, which is eventually like I want to be waking up at 5 a.m. because that's what most, if you want to be up here in life, you have to be waking up at that time because you're just giving yourself extra hours to do more things. Yeah. And for you to be already doing that at 4:25 a.m., man.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was a pretty, you know, the way I look at it is just non-negotiable. Like for the goals that I want to achieve.
Exactly. That's how I see it. But I just see it coming as age will come. I'll slowly get there.
Yeah, I mean, I think just waking up.
You have to. It's a must do.
Yeah. So I wake up at 4:25. I take a cold shower immediately.
Yeah.
And I start like answering the emails.
That's another must. A cold shower, not
cold
a hot
showers
one.
Morning cold showers. I take evening hot showers. In the morning I always take cold showers.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to implement more a little bit of gym. Right. I quit triathlon recently, so I've kind of like, you know, lost my fitness.
Do boxing, bro. I've just been taking up boxing recently for the past couple of months. Yeah, honestly, for your mental health as well, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get into that as well because I mean,
not even just to get into I box, you know, I want to beat people up. Not at all.
No, of course not. That's like, not the way I would see it.
That sport, like you have this perception of what boxing is or martial arts is, and you get into it. I think I've spoken about it before in the first episode, and it's just completely different. Like it's amazing.
Yeah,
it has so many benefits.
I've heard really great things from it. I think my strategy for like the health and gym kind of like systems that I would want to implement is just like every morning just 15-20 minutes just to get the blood and oxygen up to my brains, and then basically just, you know, smash the day. And so I do like my schedule right now is like I start like working at like 5 a.m. I usually do a little bit of reading. These days I don't do that much reading. I do more courses just because I'm like want to be highly specialized in certain areas.
You transfer to Kindle as well, no?
I do Kindle, of course. I do more reading at lunchtime and then in the evening.
Just spare time, whatever lunch break.
Yeah, exactly.
That extra minutes you're reading. Perfect.
Exactly.
If you could have a business meeting with any 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be?
Dead or alive.
So Steve Jobs, obviously, no, would be one for you.
Well, he's not alive.
No, dead or alive.
So dead or alive. Yeah. Oh, okay, sorry. I was like,
I thought Steve Jobs was still alive, just chilling.
No, Steve Jobs wouldn't have been one of them. Nope. I mean, I'm very inspired in his management styles, but I wouldn't necessarily have a meeting with him. It would probably be, God, these are difficult questions, man.
Putting you on the spot, man. You've been through worse.
Probably I would have a chat with Tim Ferriss.
100%. He would be on my list as well, for sure.
And yeah, just on the top of my list.
Two more.
Wow.
Anyone. They don't really have to be business people. Just to have a meeting about life or whatever, just a chat with. You can have 3 people in a room.
Yeah. Okay. So Mark Cuban.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good one.
I like Mark Cuban. Yeah.
He's a legend.
Yeah. He's
what he did with the Dallas Mavericks.
Insane. It's very inspiring. Yeah,
again, culture driven.
Yeah, I love his story. And Jeff Bezos. Yeah. And I should have said Jeff Bezos first because he's probably one of the most inspiring in terms of technical business.
He's insane.
Yeah.
How important is saving money and reinvesting it into let's say stocks or cryptocurrency at a young age that we're going through right now?
Right. So
that's another YouTuber, Steven, what's his name?
Graham Stephan?
Yeah, Graham Stephan. He's very, very good to watch if you want to know about saving money and basically creating multiple revenue streams in your life to set you up, because you can't rely on one. You have to have at least, 15 or 5 or 10, it's something like that.
No, I think 5 is okay.
5, yeah.
Yeah, 5 or 7.
I'm just I want more on everything.
I think that it depends what you follow. I mean, I'm reading the book. Well, I've read the book, The One Big Thing by Gary Keller, where he talks about just focus on one thing and kind of like expand that as much as possible. And then once you get to a status where you can expand your business expertise and have more sources of passive income. I think it really depends on the way you look at it.
I just think saving money at this age that we're going through, or even younger, is so crucial.
So yeah,
I mean, instead of like buying that extra beer or that extra plate of sushi, you stick it in your safe and forget about it.
Yeah. So this is one of my unfair advantages in the sense that I live with my mother.
Yeah.
And I have no living cost. I save around 97% of my income. I have a pretty decent income in the sense, like, with all the things that I do. But I invest everything into crypto.
Exactly.
And I dollar cost average into an S&P 500 ETF, accumulating by iShares. And then I invest 80% of that, 70% of that into the S&P 500. I do some in NASDAQ ETFs. I'm big on ETFs.
Yeah.
And
I've been doing the same again. We had that chat. So
so dollar cost averaging is basically just investing every single month, whatever happens.
Just repumping it back into profit over long term, even short term or mid term. Yeah, that is guaranteed.
And through compound interest, you know, and dividends reinvested, adjusted for inflation, like, the upsides
very important compound interest.
Yeah, I want to get a tattoo of that.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
You should.
Compound
how many likes to get that? 10,000. 10,000 likes, you'll get a compound interest tattoo. Come on, boys, we can do it, and girls.
So it's so important, at a young age, investing in crypto. I'm big on crypto. Especially
to where the world's going right now.
Yeah, so I'm big on crypto. I don't want to say anything because I'm not too.
No. Yeah, we're not too educated.
I'm not going to be your financial advisor. No. Definitely just do your own research and stuff like that. I have about 20% of my portfolio into crypto, into Bitcoin and Ethereum and some other altcoins.
Smart.
Yeah, and I've been investing since March. Every month, and the upsides have been obviously very good. I mean, we're at
Ripple's not looking too good at the moment. I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, so I liquidated everything.
Smart man. I won't go down that route. So let's say when you do make it in life, because I know we both will, that's a fact. If you could have a dream company, would it still be the one you're doing now, or you're gonna obviously create a dream company? What would it be? Would you say briefly? I
think I really like manufacturing. There's something about manufacturing that, it's just amazing in the sense that, like, every small step that you change just affects your gross margins and like when you talk about process design, I think definitely manufacturing.
Okay, so down that manufacturing realm, you're not sure on what.
I'll definitely sell this company as a plan that I'm running now, and then kind of like, build more companies in the future.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sweet, bro. If you could, no, I already said that. Top 5 traveling items and top 5 traveling tips, because you were on the road for a while. What would you say if you could have to bring 5 things with you to travel? What are the most important things?
Definitely get a good backpack.
Yeah.
It depends what type of traveling, but if you're traveling like I did, like a Bunsen burner, no, not Bunsen burner. What's it called?
A water heater?
Yeah, just like a heater, like a camping heater.
Or something to purify water.
Yeah, water's never been a problem where you're living.
You're in the rainforest or you're fucking in the city, but yeah.
Yeah, that stuff. Maybe like obviously like a few pairs of clothes.
Sorry, like a random question.
I didn't have like laptops or phones with me when I was all traveling.
But I think in this day and age, maybe you could even say camera, because you can make a living off that if you're stuck with anything and you just start filming yourself. At the
Yeah,
end
I mean,
of
at
the
the
day.
end of the day, it really depends on your goals. Like
Yeah,
my
true.
goals was just to like basically like, you know, just do whatever.
What
and
would
see.
yours be? Because this question differs to anyone. So more briefly, like what your top 5 in this day and age?
So
if you
in
had to
this,
travel.
like
Yeah,
right now? Right now? Oh, okay. So I'll definitely bring my laptop.
5 items.
Laptop. I'll bring my phone.
Yep.
I'll bring I'll bring my obviously my earphones.
Books. Oh no, you got your Kindle.
And I'll bring my Kindle.
Yeah.
And I'm very tech. I'm a big tech nerd.
Yeah.
Right. I love tech. So that
Kind of have to be though in this day and age.
I think
you know.
so. Yeah. I think there's a lot of
100%.
value to be taken.
I've
out
always
of
have been though as well. I remember you as well when we were quite young. You're always into computers and
yeah,
stuff.
since a very young age I was. Yeah. I was quite interested. Yeah.
It's good to be. It's good to be.
Yeah.
When you make your first $1 million, what are you doing with it?
Nothing.
Saving.
No, yeah, saving, just leaving it into like the S&P 500 and stuff like that.
Just reinvesting in all the things you said.
Yeah.
To what extent do you agree with this statement? Self-control is strength. Calmness is mastery. You can't allow emotions to overpower your intelligence.
Yeah, that's what I believe. I believe in
Yep.
objectivity. And I think, all that just stands for that in a way, right?
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Sweet, bro. I think we're very good. I think that was an amazing episode.
Absolutely.
I think we went through. We could be talking for another 2 hours, honestly, in my personal
We probably
opinion.
will later.
Yeah, we will. We'll probably go get some food after this
Yeah.
and continue the conversation. I can't wait to do this podcast with you again in like 2-3 years and see how much we've evolved.
That would
and
be
changed.
amazing. That would be an interesting
So
podcast.
yeah.
as well,
I think it's gonna be good. So I'm very happy to do that again. Shout out to the sponsors: Kura Beer, Kaizai, 10% off on all cans below. If you want to get some of these slides, check out the website. We got a lot of designs going down there, as well as these hats. So go check that out. Christmas is over, but you can always buy yourself and treat yourself with something, you know.
Absolutely.
So Brice, thank you very much, man. Really appreciate your time and effort. It's amazing. Great talk. Thank you for coming on. Keep killing it, because
Thank
you're
you.
only gonna get better and you're only gonna grow.
Thank you.
Amazing stuff, my brother. Really proud of you.
Thanks for having me on.
Perfect, bro. Thank you.
Perfect.
Ciao.